say the example I gave before about running the marathon. When you're setting yourself up in a framework where you know you're going to experience physical discomfort, you're running and sweating and you're grasping your breath and you have to kind of see your energies through. And you can many times do this with a perspective, this too will change. I'm not running forever. This will also change. It's very obvious. Like if you've done your 42.5 kilometers, like you can relax. So there is this feeling of like even dukkha will stop like naturally, or like automatically. But many times we don't believe it. Like in the monastery, for example, when there's work days, everybody's complaining, oh, we have to work today so much, so long. How long will the work day be? And so if we tell them, okay, you're working from 1 to 5, then everybody's okay with it. Then we bring the impermanence of the situation already on the schedule. We tell them, this is a limited thing. You're not going to be a slave having to work all your life. And but like, you know, actually, no, we shouldn't be so stupid to think that things are always going to continue. Like unpleasant situations also stop. And there's naturally an acquaintance with them as well. Like when I said, for example, when we study pain arising, when we're sitting meditation, and we tell ourselves like we'll look at the pain as it's there, we see the shift of perspective, and then we see that actually how we perceive these things as threatening, as unwanted or so, already changes through us really investigating them and looking at them. And this is I think that's the real key of seeing the nature or the power of change, is like that things aren't like lasting forever. Like even dukkha isn't lasting forever. There's a constant change between that. And if we can bring that awareness of like these things are happening and they have their time, they come and go, don't worry. It's a very simple way of teaching oneself, but how to incorporate the nature of change. One has to more or less be very, I say, flexible. It's not so easy, but like we're talking about very high dhammas, high teachings here. Like if we were to see the transient nature of life all the time, we'd already be in a sense of unity and embedded in this truth about impermanence. Right now we're kind of stopping or trying to hold on to things and taking snapshots of something that's actually moving, until we can observe all the time in a kind of constant flow of like mindfulness how things are changing. And it'll take a while, but it's fair enough to make certain snapshots first and take stock and look in a certain framework of, yeah, this is actually, yesterday I was feeling different about the hot season than I was today. Today I already understood what it is like. Or like recurring patterns like anger, for example. We study them and we can remind ourselves, I know the anger will go. I know in 5 minutes I'll be feeling different. I know there's also something that causes me happiness again. And we sometimes have to remind ourselves of that, like to anticipate the experiences that we have already made, to have sati in the sense of recollection. We know that, there's also a time when one gets up from the meditation, or there's also a time where the anger stops naturally, and there's also a time when the weather changes. So we teach ourselves like that, reminding ourselves things aren't like permanent. Theoretically we know, but practically we have to always kind of find little tricks of telling us the same things. It's not forever. Or when we assume other people's characters, like we usually make them into eternal people. We say, this person is so lazy, this person is so rude, this person is always like this person will always be angry, and so actually we know that that's not the case. We know that people change, and we know that people start smiling as well, and people that were offensive to us, they also let go of their anger. Like So we have to teach ourselves to not forget these things and not to eternalize other people, for example, and our own emotional states when we feel these upcoming kind of habitual reactions. I think the reason why people cannot accept change is, generally it's the root of all all defilements. It's like a sense of delusion around the process. It's like I'd like to be like that. I'd like it to be like that. It's like wanting to be things to be otherwise than they are. And why on earth this is like this? Why human beings are born like that they want things to be comfortable. They want things to be like they like it. I actually don't know, but like a fact is that everybody has this craving, wanting, and the delusion around it that like we think it should be like that. And idealist society sometimes even supports it. Like it should be. The president of America should be like this. The Germans should be like that. We've got all these labels in the programs, so we solidify it even more. We don't actually see the various factors. So it's ignorance, and it's not being wise around these things. And why we are not wise? Yeah, I can say, of course, like everybody that's had to come back to be reborn in this life has these tendencies of not taking the reality as it is, through craving, through wanting, through a sense of like defilement. And that's why we are in this condition. We are in samsara because we don't know these things yet. It's a sense of everything's all right. It couldn't be otherwise. And a sense of resting in this without a sense of being pressed or urged to do anything. It's like there's many metaphors for it, but like sometimes one says peace, but sometimes one also may say it's a feeling of wholeness, nothing inadequate, like a sense of like feeling all right.